Hey everyone, Papercut here with another video. I had some request how to do with Order the Dragon, which I understand Order the Dragon at like the silver, gold, plat level is very good. And then again, their win rates have been a lot higher this season. Though I think that will change as people see them more and more and understand how to counter them. I think as someone who's played a lot of Order the Dragon, there's some things that if you understand to think about them become a lot easier to play against, and there's some things that if you don't know those things, they seem impossible to beat. So I played this game against an Order Dragon player yesterday. I'm going to use this as a backdrop, though I'm mostly just going to be giving larger theory. So the way to think about Order the Dragon is that everything to them is stretched to the extreme. So how you would react to most civs, you have to do more. So for those of you who don't really understand Order the Dragon that well, Order the Dragon's uniqueness as a civ is that everything is stronger but more expensive at its core. So they have less vills, but those vills can gather more and have more health. They have less units, but each of those units is stronger, but it costs more. So everything to the Order of the Dragon is the extreme. Their eco can feel bad, but then they can have way too many resources all of a sudden because they put like 2 extra vills on a resource. So where I think people struggle against Order of the Dragon a lot is that for a couple reasons. One, if Order of the Dragon is allowed to mass up their best units, they're very, very hard to beat. So for in lower levels where people are pressuring a lot less, where people are kind of letting each side kind of do what they want to do, there's a good chance you lose to Order of the Dragon because you're not scouting them, and all of a sudden they show up with an army that you haven't encountered, and boom, you die. Order of the Dragon is a civ that when I coach people how to play them, when I coach people how to play against them, it's the counter system on steroids. Think about it this way. All their units are stronger, and also their counters counter harder, in both directions. What I mean by this is if you look at their spearmen, which we'll see it in a second as we continue to watch this game, their spearman does extra damage against cav compared to a normal spearman, but their spearman's more expensive. So that means that if you make archers, your archers are doing in a way extra damage to their spearmen because of the cost of that spearman. Same their horsemen. Their horsemen counter ranged even more than normal horsemen, and their horsemen are really big and tanky. But if you make a bunch of spears, that horseman's completely useless, and that massive food cost. Like a horseman for them costs 240 resources, 200 food, 40 wood. That resource just gone, and it really, really hurts them. Same thing picking their villagers. It's always important to try to kill vills. Raiding is really important, but every time you kill an Order of the Dragon vill, that is a massive loss of eco because of how they have fewer villagers and they're able to do more. So in my opinion, the reason people lose in Order of the Dragon a lot, as I said, is they're not scouting them, so they know what unit comp they make. So when they actually take a fight, they get wiped by Order of the Dragon's units, and then Order of the Dragon just walks in and wins. The thing you have to keep in mind is that if you just make their counters, you're going to beat them pretty easily. I feel like when I played Order of the Dragon, my fights were either me wiping the opponent or getting wiped. I wiped the opponent when I knew what they were making and I made counters and I just completely destroyed them. I got wiped when I was hard countered, because against other civs, you can kind of make a mass of a unit and be okay. But if you make a mass of horsemen, it doesn't matter how many horsemen you make. If they have just a clutch of spears, their spears will kill your horsemen. Like, it's that level of importance to actually make counters. So the most important thing you always do is make counters. So for example, against most opponents as IU bid, if they go stable and they're making horsemen, I feel actually pretty comfortable just making Desert Raiders. Desert Raiders are more mobile, and Desert Raiders are equal number to horsemen will kill horsemen, though technically horsemen counter them. Desert Raiders are technically a ranged unit, so horsemen do extra damage against them, but Desert Raiders do extra damage against cavalry. If I'm playing against Order of the Dragon, I can't do that. Order of the Dragon horsemen have such high health and such high damage that they will wipe my Desert Raiders. So I can't do that. So against a normal civ, I can make a soft counter. But like against Order of the Dragon, I have to make the hard counter. I have to make spears. Same thing they make men at arms. If I don't have a counter to men at arms in feudal, I gotta get to castle before he masses too many of them. One way to counter men at arms in feudal is mass ranged, but I'm not dedicated to that. I'm pro scouting. So scout them and make their counters. If you have made their counters, take a fight early, because what you don't want to do is let them mass up a huge army that just deathballs you. So if you notice they're making spearmen archers and you make archers and men at arms or archers and horsemen, take that fight and win it while you can. 2, they're an extremely food dependent civ. So it's just really easy for them to burn through their food. Their villagers gather food very quickly. All their units cost a lot of food. Spearmen 120, men at arms 200, horsemen 200. So they just burn through food. And so one thing I think you almost have to do against Order of the Dragon, no matter what civ you are, is Pro Scouts. Pro Scouts is when you get the upgrade in the mill that allows you to carry deer. It's because you take away one of their main sources of food income, which is deer. You take away the deer, and all of a sudden they will struggle very, very heavily with food. And this is a downstream effects. One, they have to go on berries, which are okay, but not great. They might have to rush out to get the boar, which is dangerous because it's out in the middle of nowhere. Or they have to add early farms, which is a huge economic strain as they're spending all of this wood to make farms. So overall, pro scouting is very good. So in this game, what I did was I opened Growth Wing to get some extra vills. I then made spears, and scouts went out, and I took deer on his side first. He had to make men at arms to counter my spears. He should have made archers, because his men at arms are slow, but he made men at arms. I'm grabbing the deer. I got most of this deer pack. These 2 deer packs. Yeah, I'd say a majority. And now I'm grabbing my deer packs as well. He's rushing castle. I'm gonna start rushing castle soon, because what I know is since he's made men at arms, the second that he kills my spears, which he did, which I was using to like harass his scouts, he is going to just rush my base with men at arms and camp under my base, because men at arms have 230 health and 4 arrow defense. If you got golden cross, it's gonna be even worse. I also expect him to go Burgrave to try to take advantage of this to just mass into my base. So taking the principles in mind, I'm already pre-creating the counters. I have archery ranges for crossbows. I can make camel lancers or my knights against his men at arms, but I'm wary that he could go spears pretty quickly. And I'm going to make ghulams as a front line. So I have a little bit of everything. I'm ready to counter whatever he makes. I see horsemen and I see men at arms. So if I did just crossbows, his horsemen could kill my crossbows, even his feudal horsemen. If I did pure camel lancers, if he just started making spears, they die. So I need a little bit of everything so I can constantly counter. 2, so I've taken the deer. I'm very aware that he's going to be on boar. He's going to have to go into berries at some point. So constant raids against Order of the Dragon is very, very good for multiple reasons. 1, killing the village is always great, but 2, if you can just split his army even at all, it's a really big deal. So if you sent 2 horsemen to harass like berries, and he sent 3 or 4 spears, and then you take a fight, those 4 spears matter a lot in the overall scheme of the fight. If he says horsemen to chase your horsemen, it's a big deal. Like overall, just sending units, just a few units to force him to make mistakes about how many units he sends to stop that attack, does a lot of work. So he's aged up. He's just sending men at arms to slow my eco. I'm aging up with the Dervish Wing. Unfortunately, the weakness of Ivan and Abbas when you're caught in these late castles is that you can't speed up your age up. So I'm just running Vills around, letting my TC do some work. It's just very slow going though. I'm sending Vills out to resources around the map to just try to get away from the men at arms because they are slow. So I'm going to gold over here. I'll go to food down here. He actually hasn't killed that many Vills. He's killed 2 Vills, which isn't bad at all. Considering I got 3 Vills for free at the start of the match with my Growth Wing. But he is slowing my eco down. I did pre-gather a lot of wood and food and gold, so the second I age up, I could just make gold units. He's trying to get relics. But you notice already, food's going to become an issue for him. He has, let's see, it looks like 2 more deer on the ground, 3 deer on the ground, and he's almost out of sheep. So once he's out of that, he just has berries, or he's got the boar, or these berries. So I know he's gonna have to be on the map. So a big weakness of Order of the Dragon is they have to be on the map pretty quickly, unless they're adding farms, which slows them. So if you see them adding early farms, that's a window for you to attack, pressure, or do something like go fast castle or second TC, depending on the moment. If you see them not making farms, and they're on the map somewhere, so raid all the food sources and really hurt them that way, because if you can continuously push them on food, they're going to be not able to make enough units. The last thing you can really do against Order of the Dragon is their weakness is either hard counters or way over massing, just because their production is slightly slower and their units are more expensive, so it's hard for them to mass at the same speed and level that a normal civ masses. Now they get over that by doing things like making really good counters, raiding your eco with just a few units, which can be really powerful. But if you're a civ that's really good at just completely outmassing very quickly, that's a way to beat them. So for example, in the example I gave earlier, where I said if he's making horsemen, I'm going to make spears. If I was a civ like China, Zushi, Delhi that can make a lot of units very quickly. So China with their imperial officials, Delhi with their scholars. If you can make like 3 horsemen very quickly, then yes, you can outmake them just with pure unit numbers. Same thing with the Rus fast castle into horse archer strategy. That can work really well against Order of the Dragon, because you can drop like 3 to 4 barracks and quickly produce a lot of horse archers with your Rus eco. And even if Order of the Dragon is making pure archers, which is a good counter, or they're making pure horsemen, you can just which are also a counter to horse archers, you can just completely outmass them. You can make so many that they can't keep up and actually defend. So those are the 2 ways. You either completely, utterly outmass them because they struggle to maintain production speed, or you make their very specific counters and you have to scout them and adjust. So look at this. Here's where this Order of the Dragon player is already messed up. I know he's just doing man-at-arms spam, so the second I age up, I just start making crossbows, camel lancers, and gulams. And look, he can't take this fight anymore. He immediately has to run. His men-at-arms become completely useless because he can't stand under the crossbow fire. I have to be careful about getting overwhelmed by his mass, because he's been in castle for a while. He's had a chance to make a lot of units, so I'm not going to force a fight. I see also he's making gilded knights, so what do I need to make? I need to make spears. I need to make crossbows. I'm not going to keep making men-at-arms because his men-at-arms are better than my men-at-arms, and his knights will beat my men-at-arms, so it's actually better for me to start going spears. But I need to make crossbows. Overall, this just screams crossbows and then a front line. So I start making crossbows. I'm still making gulams. I honestly should have switched into spears. But it's fine. I do have some camel lancers. And I am bringing back relics, so I can heal with my my dervish. But you notice he can't stay here and take this fight, because even 4 crossbows is doing some work here. He actually really, he needed to push here. He needed to eat the crossbow shots. And another thing about Order of the Dragon is that they require really good micro to be effective, because they really need their units to attack the right units. So like the best way for him to take this fight was what he's trying to do right now, which is men-at-arms fight, and then his grip it and rip it. What we're drinking. Alyssa's got some seltzer. She's hamming on. All right. So his best way to take this fight is that men-at-arms take the front, and then his Gilded Knights rush to the back. I have to be very aware of that. So I pull my camel. I Wololo, buy me some time. And that's what he really wanted to do. He wanted to get this in micro, which is what if Order of the Dragon's able to micro the units and the correct units, he's gonna win. Boom, he comes in. He targets my dervish first because it's mass healing. Smart, but look at this. 4 crossbows are still taking so long to kill these Gilded Knights. Doing so much work. He's trying to keep him alive so he can heal them. The next Gilded Knight's going to go down because I do get some sort of front line, and now my crossbow mass is starting to work. So what's he need to do? He's just making horsemen. So he's doing what he needs to do. Like, he sees I'm making a lot of crossbows. He's going to make horsemen. He's going to make his own crossbows to counter my Gulam. So overall, it's this constant move of countering. You have to counter perfectly. Another thing is you want to keep the pressure on. Once you've pushed the Order of the Dragon back, you can't let them recover, get an eco set up, get another mass built up. Once you've kind of ruined their mass, you want to keep that pressure up. So if you look from my perspective, I know he has to be on food somewhere, right? Like, he is low on food. I know, I checked he's on this boar over here. I'm guessing he's probably going to be on the berries over here. And so as much as possible, you want to split the Order of the Dragon player. So I'm not going to dive. I don't want to lose everything because he might have already been making spears. And if I dive, I'm just going to lose all my units. I have a military advantage right now. I'm going to go raid. So I'm going to send my cavalry off to the side. I'm going to go check berries. I caught him getting the relic over here with my Gulam. I see that he's on food right here. So this is going to be my next attack point because I want to keep him off food. I'm massing. I'm getting my upgrades. I'm just trying to spend my resources. Against Order of the Dragon, another good thing is if you've kind of taken, like when you've taken a military lead like this, if you're not quite comfortable yet pushing, I like to go for a second TC because once again, getting that big eco lead over them, it's just very hard for them to catch back up. I'm already at 54 units. He's at 47 vills. Whoa, that's a lot more vills than I anticipated. How many did he kill? 2. I must have not been producing on my TC while he was diving, so it's like he probably killed 8. He probably killed like 8 to 10 in that way, but okay. So I want to add a second TC because I didn't know how many vills he actually killed. I thought he killed more. I'm taking sacred sites. I see he's on the food up here, so I'm gonna send lancers up here. I'm gonna send lancers to his wood line. He's now making spears, right? So I have 2 options. I either need to make mass gulams or I need to start making archers. So I start adding in archers because I thought he's gonna go mass spears. If he does spear crossbow, my gulams will die very fast. So it's once again, don't be afraid to make counters. If he's gonna make a bunch of crossbows, you gotta make archers or spears or horsemen. So I immediately start adding in horsemen, I'm adding in spears, I'm adding in archers. Like, I'm trying to be cognizant of the things he's making and immediately making counters, not waiting until he overwhelms me with a better comp. I see he has a good amount of units here, so I'm going to push the gold, because once again, I know he needs gold. I take this fight. It's not an amazing fight, but we're doing okay. He's also starting to make Lanch connect, so I want to make sure he's not getting into my mass here. But you notice I'm just continuously, like, I'm trying to back up to save units. I'm kiting him, because if you have a range mass, just kiting Order of the Dragon's pretty good. I notice he's getting a lot of crossbows. This is dangerous. A crossbow mass for Order of the Dragon is very good. They're kind of siege resistant too, because they're so tanky, and they're so big, funny enough, that it's like hard for a siege shot to get a lot of them in one hit. So I need to make a counter to the crossbows, either mass archers, mass horsemen, something. I keep raiding with my camel lancers. I want to keep putting the pressure on, keep grabbing vills. At this point, I have killed 13 vills, because I caught him on the boar up here, because I knew he'd be on the boar, right? So I killed all his vills on boar. And now I'm just diving into that. A big thing is whenever they're taking a fight, raid while they're taking a fight. So when we took that fight, I set my camel lancers up here, caught him on the boar. And you would do that against any civ, right? But as much as possible, keep attacking on the fringes, because then it forces him to pull units backwards, and he doesn't want to do that. Order of the Dragon wants to fight big army versus army. These little skirmishes are really tough for him, because, I mean, in my experience with Order of the Dragon, it was tough to, in the moment, split just the right amount of units to take care of a raid while also defending the main push. But at this point, I know I'm pretty far ahead. I got a second TC down. I killed a bunch of vills on boar. I'm just going to drop a bunch of spring ults. I like spring ults against Order of the Dragon because they really are trying to make a front line that either holds well, like mass men at arms, or does a lot of damage quickly, like mass Landsknecht. And either way, you want to take down that front line so then you can quickly get onto their mass of crossbows. So I'm going to make mass spring ults to just decimate his front line, and then my horsemen and archers will do the rest. I feel like mass, if you're going to do siege, you have to mass siege. So I also could have done like 5 mangonels and that would have worked really well. But if I can't take out his front line can just dive my siege, right? So I want to do a massive spring ults first, and then I'll add a couple manganiques for siege. I'm just checking food sources. I'm keeping on the deer, on the berries down here. I see he's burned through the berries up here, so I know he's adding farms right now, so he's not in a great spot. I'm also adding farms, but I have a lot more villagers than him. I see he went second TC. So he's desperate for vills. I know this is my time to push. And then you notice I have a pretty split comp. Like I'm trying to counter a little bit of everything he's doing. When I see his comp roll up, I see it's mostly spears, Landsknecht, and crossbows. So my mangoes are really important here. And so are my, he can't push this. He sees the amount of spring ults I have, and he knows he can't take that fight. So he's trying to mass up more, and look, he's actually caught up on mass. The Burgrave is actually huge for this. Like, another reason I wanted to go spring ults is that I know his main unit production is Burgrave, so he's gonna go mass, front line, which you notice he has. He's only added a few more crossbows, he's added a lot of spears and Landsknecht, because he can get that for cheaper out of the Burgrave. But from my perspective, I'm just taking this nice and slow. I'm just gonna start sieging down his buildings, and whenever possible, sending raids around the side of his base. I'm 200, so we're good to go. I'm just doing more eco stuff in the back. I'm getting keeps up on sacred sites. I'm adding my farm transition. I'm getting ready to go. I'm adding more production, so if we take a fight, I can quickly remass. And then, which is a big thing against Order of the Dragon, they struggle to remass quickly. So if you guys are taking big fights in Lake Castle and Imperial, you want to have a lot of production. So when you remass, you're just continuously pushing back. Order of the Dragon will struggle to remass continuously. Unless their eco is super good, but I know it's not. So I know like once he loses a fight, he's gonna really struggle to match me again, because his main way of creating a mass is through the Burgrave, which is somewhat fast but still takes time. I'm just gonna keep raiding horsemen. Horsemen are fairly cheap. So as I'm raiding, he comes out to do this push. It's really important. My counters go to the counters, right? So my horsemen go on his crossbows, my spearmen are over on his horsemen, and my spring ults are just opening up on his front line. Look how this fight goes. Counters on counters is amazing. My spearmen destroy his horsemen. My spring ults are decimating all of his front line. He gets his spearmen back on my horsemen, so they die, but now my spring ults are just opening up on their crossbows, which isn't amazing, but it's still doing work. My range mass is protecting my spring ults, which once again, just pure out massing works too. Here comes his rain. Here comes his front line, and my Springbolts just decimate it. That's his main damage dealer with Lanchinax. Once that's done, he can't hold this any longer. This entire time I was raiding a horseman in the back. I sent a group down and around, so he's losing a bunch of villagers. And now the game's pretty much over. I'm gonna go Imp because I have the resources, and why not? Get Culverins and win. I've now killed 31 Vills because since he had his whole entire force up here, the raid went really, really well for me. But you notice, if I don't have the Springbolts, he probably wins that fight, honestly. With the amount of Lanchinite he had and Spearmen, if they have that mass melee, it can be really easy to lose to that if you're not expecting it. That's why I really like mass Springbolts. Or if I'm playing War of the Dragon, I hate mass Springbolts because you really want to get that good melee mass. I'm going to pause here because at this point it's just me sieging down his base and him unable to match my mass, and then I get Imp upgrades and I win. But I hope this video kind of gives you a basic idea of really what you want to try to do against War of the Dragon. Be scouting and always making their counters, hard counters always. Try to deny their food because they're such a food-hungry civ. When you take an advantage, keep pushing that advantage. Don't ever let them just sit back and do whatever they want because they will create kind of an unstoppable comp. You don't want to do that. So it's funny because it's stuff that sounds the same for every other civ. You want to do resource denial, you want to make the counters, but for War of the Dragon, it's especially important because the way people lose is by not doing those things. If you're interested in coaching or any sort of game support, check out my coaching Discord at the bottom of the video in the box below. Or if you want to follow me on Twitch, you can do that as well. I have a lot of videos that help new players to the game or people wanting to get better at the game, so check out my other videos as well. Thank you so much for watching, and good luck in your games.